and welcome to the Twitch of Equipe Technique. It's our first live, so sorry if it looks like amateur, but this is our first live. Today I'm thrilled to have you with us because on this stream I have invited two true legends in the software development community. It's a real honor for me to have them here today because they will share a wealth of their experience and knowledge with us. And for example, Adrian is a developer I have always looked up and admire. And I'm so grateful, Adrian, that you're here with us to share your creation, Avo, and that you give us some insight about how to become and what is the journey of an open source developer. Usama, you're also like so famous in your country in Pakistan because you have trained and mentored so much developers. And tonight, like, thank you so much to be here with us and to share your experience about Avo because now, like, you're like part of the elder developer in the Avo community since you're here nearly like since the beginning. So welcome, Adrian. Welcome, Usama. And let me give you the mic so you can also introduce you too. Let's go,
Hey,
Adrian.
hey, Tracy. Thank you so much for that amazing intro. I am humbled to be presented like that. Um, yeah. So, Usama, would you like to say something? Uh, Say hello.
Yeah, definitely. Hello, hey Tracy. Hello, Adrian. Hello, everyone. And thank you very much for this warm welcome and very good introduction. And it's been great working with these awesome guys. And as you know, it is a learning curve for every developer, even if it's your first month or even if it's your 10th year working with Ruby on Rails or any other technology. So it's been great learning a lot of new things with these awesome guys. So really excited to be here.
So, Adrian, how old are you and since how many years do you code?
Yeah, so I'm 35 years old and I've been a professional developer for about 12 years, 11, 12 years, something like that. But I have been tinkering with technology for, I think, more than 20 years. So I've, whatever, in every like school project that I participated in, I would build a website, I would build some kind of interactive technological thing. And always loved interacting with technology. And I think after I finished my college, I just said, "Hey, I'm gonna be a developer." I didn't go to a computer science school. I went to economics college and that sort of thing. But when I finished, I said, "Hey, this is actually my passion. I really want to pursue that." And about 12 years ago, I got my first job as a developer. I started out with PHP, with jQuery, if anybody remembers that. A lot of WordPress development, a lot of like pushing WordPress to the limit. And then after a few years, I discovered Laravel, which Laravel is actually something. It's a PHP framework. It's like Rails, but for PHP. And I did Laravel for about, I think, 4 or 5 years. Meanwhile, I did some Angular 1, and then Vue.js came along, and I did a lot of Laravel and Vue.js applications. And in about 2015, 2016, I got a job at a Silicon Valley startup, and they were using Ruby and Ruby on Rails. And that's when, like, I found like my passion framework, if I may call it. And since then, I've been doing a lot of Ruby. I've been doing Node.js and TypeScript and other things, but Rails is something close to me. So yeah, that's like the big short history of my career.
Thank you. We will learn more today, for sure. And what about you, Usama?
Mine is not as glamorous as Adrian.
Okay.
um, I've been doing it for the past 7.5 years now. I started back in my university days, so started it in my final year project. Got a bit of idea of Ruby on Rails, so and I was good at that time, so I got my first job in Ruby on Rails, and I got very good mentors with me. which really helped me push and tell me how to write good code. So I also work with bit of Marin stack in my starting days, but my interest was towards Ruby on Rails. So uh, it's been like 7.5 years now, and I've explored a lot of domains like e-commerce, um, uh, taxation websites, and also hedge funds, custom CMS systems. So I'm not like I've been exploring a lot of new things. So, and a couple of months ago, I met Tracy, and it's going very great, and learning a lot of new things. And from Tracy, actually, I got to meet Adrian, and when I saw what his work was and how everything was properly documented, and I was gone, and I was said, okay, this is something I need to work on, and I need to work with these guys. So I'm learning a lot of new things now with these awesome guys, and let's hope best for the future. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're curious and you don't hesitate to try new things, Usama. And this is why you
Yeah,
came to Avo also.
yeah. There was one thing. One guy, he was kind of my senior. He told me that if you become technologically agnostic person, like if you are not thinking of working in just one thing, there will be no limit, because technology has changed. There was a time for, let's say, PHP, then Laravel came, and no one wants to work. People want to work with core PHP, but they want to work with Laravel
Yeah.
more. So say they told me that you really don't need to bound yourself with one thing. If there is something you need to learn which is new, just go with it. Even if it's hard or it's easy, just do it. And I've been following that since my first day, and it's been going great.
Yeah. So a lot of developers are practicing today PHP, and you said, Adrian, that you have started with PHP. So how is this learning curve when you come from a PHP background to Ruby on Rails?
So I think for me it wasn't that difficult because I was coming from Laravel. As I said, like Laravel was is a framework inspired by Rails. So they started out going towards like feature parity. They started adding tiny features, tiny things that Rails had. But at one point, I think Laravel 4 or 5, they just split apart and did their own thing because they figured out that some patterns are being done differently in PHP than Rails, and the people that are using Laravel, they use it a little bit differently. But that being said, like the common patterns are kind of the same. They are both MVC frameworks, so they're model view controller. They both use the models to interact with the database. They both have controllers which pick up the requests. They chew on the request and then they give a response. And they both have like a view layer, right? PHP has Blade, which has the PHP templating layer in the background, and Rails has ERB by default. So coming from Laravel, it was quite easy to figure out. Okay, they have the routes file, they have routing similar to Laravel, they have the controllers, they have the models, they have their own ORM. So the methods are a little bit different, but in the great aspect of things, it should work kind of the same, right? I had some issues like when I had to understand like how blocks work. They're like anonymous functions in JavaScript. I had some issues with instance variables from controllers. This is something that PHP doesn't have. When you add a variable, something like at post, and that would be translated to the view layer. This is something that PHP doesn't have. You have to assign it manually. So there were these kind of differences, but they're mostly like I kind of slid in pretty okay with Rails. Yeah.
Yeah, there is this magic of in the conventions from
Yes.
Ruby on Rails. Yeah.
Yes. I always tell people like this is what I think Node.js, the Node.js community doesn't have conventions. I worked on a few apps with Node.js, and each app has different authentication, different caching layer, different authorization setup, different ways to work with the configuration and the environment and so on. So everything is different. That's why it's more difficult to onboard new people, new developers on a project, and that's why it's like generally like a little bit more difficult to work on a project when everything is in the right spot, like it is with Rails and Laravel, but I think more with Rails. When you bring, I always tell this to people, like when you bring 10 developers from different countries, different backgrounds to a Rails app, they all know what to do because they know where everything is and they know how to work together because of those conventions.
I remember it was in a morning, cold morning in February, and just like I was uh, diving into my Twitter feed and just to find like some inspiring tweet or funny tweets to start my day, and then I read one of your tweets actually. You have been selected by the algorithm of Twitter actually to
Wow.
me, and I was saying like you are talking about what you're doing because you're deeply passionate, and you are talking about Avo and what you want to bring to the community to create admin panels easily. And I've been like um, regular user and also like a contributor to active admin, and when I saw that with Avo I can have access to Hotwire, I was thinking like, wow, one developer has started what the whole community is waiting for. So I just click on the link and I saw your website and you will show us this website. And then I dive into the official repository on GitHub about of Avo, and the clean was code. And like I was convinced like in almost like 15 minutes that yes, this is valuable. I should give it a try. And the funny thing is, we had a new project just like few days later, and no way. I said we will do the admins panels with Avo and we will give it a try. And then we meet. So now it's time that you show to our audience like what is Avo, and uh, if you can dive into the code base, because what will be great also is that from this live you can hire your next open source developers that will create issue and even like raise pull requests to enhance what you're doing. So I give you the mic.
Yeah, sure. So let me share my screen because I think the best way of I've been explaining Avo to a lot of people, technical and non-technical, and I've been doing it in different ways. But one of the ways I'm just going to show you right now. So I'm going to go into an app, something that you might know. So this is Dev2. This is a publication app, and I'm going to go into my dashboard, and I want to tell you like most apps are kind of the same. You have a place where you can view some resources, right? These are the posts. If I go here, these are the series. Then these are the followers, and then maybe if I go back to posts, so I see a list of things. This is one view. Then I click on one, I can see the details for this post, and then I have access to an edit screen, right, where I can edit this. And most apps are the same. So if you take a look at Instagram, if you take a look at Shopify, if you take a look at GitHub, you can go and find these patterns everywhere. So you'll see the listing, you'll see the details, you'll see the edit, right? So these are some patterns that you can, when you go and build an app, you can go and build them yourself, right? You go and create like the controller for the posts, and then you add the methods like index and edit and new and so on. Rails helps you because they get generated right away, and then you go and write the views, and you write an input for the title and an input for the description and so on, and the form. And then you have to write the logic for the database model and how it's going to get fetched from the database, how are you going to write it, and so on. So you can do that, and that's a lot of manual work. And usually for most apps, this is not the core unique aspect of their app. This is not the core juice that it brings to their app. Like for dev, it's not just editing a blog, it's the rest of the things like the feed and the community and the posts and the follows and so on, right? So why go and spend all of those resources building the same thing over and over again when you can have them extracted away? So this is what I did with Avo. So with Avo, you write something. I'm gonna go a little bit into the code. Let me blow this up. So instead of building all of those features, all of those things with a raw code and business logic that it's going to probably become harder to maintain over time, you do it in a declarative way. So I'm going to show you here. This is like the comment resource. We have a post resource and then we have a comment resource. And if you're not very familiar with Avo, if you just scan this class, if you just scan this file, you'll kind of figure out what's happening. And I'm just going to draw your attention to this part over here. We know that the comment,
This
yeah,
is the source code of Avo, or this is a project that is using Avo.
this is what you will see. This is a project that is using up, right? So this is a project that has posts and has comments, right? This is very
Yeah.
common, like I showed you in Dev 2. So you have posts and the posts have comments on them, and then you need a way to maintain update this. You need to be able to add comments, to add posts, to edit them, to search them, to delete them, and so on, right? And like I said, like if you want to build this, you can build it your own manually, build everything like the views, the controllers, the methods, everything, or you can tell it what you need. So this is how Avo works. You tell it what you want. So this is like I tell it, okay, it has a field of ID. This is okay. Then it has a field of body, which is a text area. It has a field of posted at, which is a date time. And then you tell it like it has a field of user and it belongs to a user. And then here I tell it, okay, it's a commentable, and it can be these can be comments added to posts and projects, right? So I just tell it what it needs to do, right? And then if I go to the app, just a second, oh, it wasn't on. And then if I go and visit the app, Avo will read all of this configuration and will generate this for me. And I'm just going to go to comments, and this is what I have here, right? I have the ID, I have the body, I have posted that, the user, and the commentable field. So every field that I added here is added to my screen. And not only that I can see it, I can go into the edit screen and I can modify it, right? I can change the date where it was posted, right? And maybe the user, somebody else. And then I'm just going to hit save, right? And now everything has been updated for me in the database. It's that simple. I have an app that is working, and this can be done in actually like 5 minutes or less. And this is like the big gist of it. This is the let's call it the scratching the surface part. From this configuration, you can go and tell it, okay, this is maybe this is read only, right? And I can tell it, yeah, this is read only if the current user is not an admin, maybe. Who knows, right? So me being a developer and building this for developers, I know that I'm going to need stuff in advance. So it's built in. Avo has these features built in where you can control things like it's read only if you want to show some help, like help text, so people know what they should fill in and so on. So again, this is just scratching the surface, and this is just a simple example, like a
From
post.
what you have showed
Yeah.
right now, like it's so elegant, and it feels like we're in Ruby on Rails. Like you can be like an official author of Ruby on Rails too. It's the same. I think I feel it's the same.
Yes, it's kind of like I mean, I go by the same conventions that Ruby on Rails goes, right? Keep it simple at first, and then if you want to make it, if you want to customize it further, if you want to get like a lot of strong features, a lot of complex features, you can get those as well. So
Yeah,
you
but
start small and you go wherever you want.
we are all struggling with how to name our functions, and but you made it very well. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. I mean, I have a hard time as well. I have a hard time as well. Sometimes I change things in the API because I know that it's not the right name. Yeah.
Yeah. So which keywords came first, and which was like hard to find?
So I think the first thing that I focused on, like the first API wasn't like this with the fields. It had something like def fields, and then inside you would do some, you would add them or
Yes.
something like that. And then I did something like fields do, and then somebody came along and said like, hey man, that's not how you do it in Rails, and you do it a little bit differently. And he showed me like, check out the models, and if you check out the models, you have the same thing. You just have
Exactly.
methods declared on that class, right? And you do that using like, these are the configuration. This is the declarative way. You tell it what you want. You don't do it, right?
Nice.
Yeah. And as I said, like, this is the base of the like the of the iceberg. I've seen people build all kinds of content management systems, all kinds of internal apps. We sorry. Um, so we call it internal business tools, internal tools, but you can build any type of content management system, because any type of content management system is an internal tool, something. And you can build something for your team, or you can build something for your users, right? Because everything we build in Avo is actually consumer ready, so it can be put in front of the consumer, because we make sure that everything is in line, everything is aligned, everything looks nice, everything feels nice, the UX is good, and and you can give it to your customer, so you don't have to like mess around with a lot of CSS files, a lot of JavaScript files, a lot of assets, and all of that. We make sure that the experience is good from the beginning, right? You start small, you start with a simple resource, and then you can get to something like this, like a user, where you can have like a main area, you have a sidebar, you have different tabs for different things. So you can go wild with all of this.
So I saw that you have been featured on Product Hunt too. So what is the story about this?
So yeah, I think every creators, every product creator wants this. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so every product creator wants to, um, when they launch their product, they want some kind of recognition. Maybe they want to put this out there because it's difficult to market your app. And one of the places you can put it, and probably one of the best, is Product Hunt. So you go there and you create a page, you create a profile for your product, and then comes like the launch day. And on the launch day, you have to make sure you tell everybody like, hey, we launched.
Wow,
You have to point them there, and you get upvoted.
that's a lot
Um,
of votes.
Yep. It's not easy. You have to tell a lot of people, because if you're not like a recognized brand, like you're not like Google, or like maybe Tailwind, or you're not like a Zoom or a big company, people are not going to like see you on that list, right? So that's why you have to go in different communities. You have to go to your community and tell them, hey, if you want to help, this is the time. Look, we're there for 24 hours. Go and if you like us, upvote and leave a comment. And yeah and we did kind of good. I mean, second product of the day is rather, it's a good result.
So
It's
Avo is free or paid? It's a paid
Yeah.
product.
So it's a free and a pro product. So it has a base of community. There are two types of licenses. There's the community, which is free, and the pro version. And the free license gives you access to probably 70%, maybe 80% of the features, most of what you need, most of what you see here, like the CRUD features. And the pro package, this is something that adds a little bit more. It adds like advanced custom fields, like custom resources. It adds things like records reordering. We can go and reorder records easier. So everything that you need to build like a very high end, like maybe the last 90% of your experience, that's maybe when you need something like pro. So the community go takes you a very long, very far away. It takes you a long way. And if you need a little bit more, then you can get the pro feature, which is probably not that expensive, 249 dollars per year.
Plus, it
um,
helps you to stay focused on the
yeah,
project. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. As I said, we sweat on the little things, so you don't have to. So we estimate that a a team can save maybe between 5 and $10,000, depending on the app. using Avo, right? We spoke with a lot of agencies, and they probably build somewhere around 3 to 4 apps per year, like moderately like big apps. With Avo, they can double that amount, so they can build more. We have a customer that has built their own HubSpot application, and this way they're saving like $16,000 per year, and they have more custom made software with Avo, right? So
Yeah.
there are all of these places where you can add Avo. This doesn't have to be like your own admin panel sitting in the back, just you and your team use it. So this can be something that you can give to your whole organization to use, and maybe also to your customers. We have customers that give this Avo like to their customer, and they all say like, hey, having a whole app shipped in a single gem in a single package, that's a daunting task, that's a daunting thing to think about, but you can do that with Avo.
Very nice. Thank you, Adrian. And there is one more thing I would like to hear from you is about the organization of the code base. Can we go into the official repo of Avo and dive in?
Of course, yep. So Avo is a source available project. um, So that means it's on GitHub. You can go and check it out. You can see it here. So everything you see is open for everybody. Please go in and start the repo if you haven't. It's this star right here. And to tell you a little bit about like the internals and how it works. Um, so Avo is actually a Rails engine, right? So we have in here an engine file. Rails engines are like tiny little Rails apps. Like Rails itself is an engine mounted inside like the main app, and then you can mount different engines. Another engine would be the Sidekick, what do you call it, dashboard. Avo is a different one, and then this being an engine, it gives you like a route in. So let me just go back. So when you go to /admin, for example, we take over everything. We take over the routing. We take over the controllers. So if I'm going to go and show you that, we have this routes file, right? Where it says like Avo engine, and then we have a regular routes file, and you can check them out. You'll see like the resources when you can delete things like attachments and actions and so on. So you can check this out. And then we have controllers that manage everything. So the base controller is what serves the resources. So we have the index. Like let's have a look at maybe the index method. So we set like the page title, and then we add some breadcrumbs, and then we set some things that you have available on the index screen. Yeah, things like the index params, the filters, and the actions. So I'm going to go to users. You'll see these are the filters. This is something you can filter the records by. These are the actions. These are things that you can apply to these users, right? I can select these two users and say, okay, toggle them, make them inactive. You'll see now they are active. It just toggles them.
Yes.
Yeah. So
This is a
this,
stimulus. This is with stimulus.
yes, it's a combination of stimulus and hotwire. So to give you like a little bit of background, when Avo was first created, it was an SPA, a single page application. It was a Rails backend API, and then it had a Vue.js front end. And that was I think in 2020. The first initial version was in August 2020. And in December 2020, guess what? DHH presented Hotwire, right? And they said like, "Hey, this is going to be the next best thing." And what did I do? I quit my job and I said, "Okay, I'm going to take a month to rewrite Avo," and I rewritten everything from Vue.js to Hotwire. It took me about 2.5 months, not just 1 month, but everything was built from Hotwire. So from the beginning, Avo is powered by Hotwire, by Stimulus.js, and it uses all of these nice features. And in Avo 3, we use turbo streams and everything, all the new like goodies and custom stream actions and so on. So yeah, everything is Hotwire. Is Hotwire powered. Even the actions. If I'm going to show you, like you see the XHR, and I click on dummy action, it's actually a GET request, which gets some HTML and adds it inside my like main,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So, and what about this keyword filter? Can we see like the code source of this keyword?
Sure. Cool. So the filters are used to filter your records on the index screen, right? So the index view is this view where you can go and see, like, this is, we call it the root index view. So you see all the users. But if I go into the team, you'll see that a team has many team members, and these are actually users. So you can use the same resource, and this is the index view for the team members, right? And whenever you have a lot of records, you usually want to filter them, right? So what we did is implemented some kind of filtering system. So I'm going to show you like the usernames, like name filter, the code. This is the code for the filter. This code is going to be generated by a Rails generator, and you see it's not that complex. You have the name, you have maybe the button label, you can customize that, and then you have the apply method, and you get the request, you get the query, and you get the value of the filter. And I'm going to explain what this does. So when I'm going to search, let me search for Jess, and hit filter. Okay, and now I have this whole view filtered. It shows it has one filter applied by the first name. And what this did is brought this Jess. So now value is actually Jess, right? And the query is actually, I'm just going to delete this to make it simple. This is the query that fetches all the users. And I'm just going to say, okay, where I'm going to get that query and add this to the query, like where lowercase name is like whatever I pasted in, right? So if you have a look, this is just like Rails. This is regular Rails. This is not something very, very difficult. Of course, this is in an apply method, but I'm not doing any magic here. This is what you would use if you had written your app. And you can take this and extract it into a scope if you want, and you say search by name, and then search by name if you want that, and then you can give it like the value, right?
Yeah.
And it's that easy. You can do that using filters.
So cool. So that is how I can use filter. And in the code base of Avo, can we see like how you have coded this keyword? It's a class method.
Yes, sure. So let me jump into my actual because it might be easier to read it over here. So again, we're gonna go into base controller, right? What I showed you before, right? So we have this index method, and then let me see if I can find it here. So we do a lot of we apply a lot of things to the query, right?
Yeah.
So we remove our code base is rather well commented out if we need that. We have a lot of documentation for like our front facing code, but also for this. So here we're like removing the default scope if somebody requested that. We are eager loading the associations if that's something that you need. So I'm going to go into user resource, and I'm going to show you like you can say, okay, I have some things that I need eager loaded. You just say, okay, I want just add posts and post, and we do that. We go into the query and we add this includes attribute. We eager load the files, and then we do the sorting if we need to, right? Because that's built in. And then we apply the filters to the current query. So then we do like the filter class, we constantize it, we figure out these are the what do you call it, the we just take the filters, we take the filter class, we instantiate it, and then we run apply query and look at what we give it. We give it the request, we give it the query, and then we give it the value. That's exactly what we had here, like the request, the query, and the value, right?
Yeah.
And then this query just gets passed over like to each filter if you have multiple, and then it just goes to the like this pagi. This is the paginator, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that you would do inside your app, right? But this is what we do for you. So you get all of that, all of this like beauty and ease of use. You just create a class and you add your logic to it, and we do all of that work.
Thank you, Adrian. So we have still like 5 minutes in this presentation of Avo, and I want to like use those 5 minutes to talk about like how one can contribute to the repo of Avo, how one can become like an open source developer and help you like build this amazing product.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for that. I mean, we will take all the help we want. So all the help we will get, and we thank all of our contributors. We have them listed here.
Wow. Yeah.
We have another website. If you click this, we have another website set up which shows you like a top of our contributors and the number of commits. We don't count the number of commits for like a contest, but we are very grateful for them and for all contributions. So we had people that contributed to a lot of features. They fixed a lot of bugs, and we figured out this is the best way to do it because like if you have an issue, you probably like all of us had issues with packages before with other types of apps, and the only way you can get in touch with those people is by a contact form or an email. When you use an open source product, you can go in and create a pull request and actually fix your issue. And most of our pull requests that people bring in, we merge them because they're very good and we appreciate that. So this is a way that you can help yourself and fix your problem faster.
So
And if
you
you want to,
use extensively like the issues tab on GitHub to
yes,
list
yes,
all issues. Yeah.
yes. So what we do here, one of the things that we like is to document everything, right? So even here, you see updated 1 hour on 1 hour ago. So I created a few. I had a call with a customer, and they had a few issues with Avo, and everything they told me, I put it here. So we put here things that come from customers, things that come from our testing, things that come from other like maybe related repos, and everything is in here. So you can also find some issues tagged with good first issue. So these are things that are easy-ish to implement. We have approaches on most of them, and if somebody wants to get in touch and work on these things, they can definitely do it. And if anybody has any issues with like navigating the code base, or if they're going into the right direction, everybody that asked us a question, we answer the questions and the issues rather fast, like a few hours or maybe the next day, and we guide them through the code base and the approach. So if anybody wants to go and wants to contribute to an open source project, yeah, go for it. Avo is a very nice place to start.
And you have a Discord server too. So if I have a question or if I want to say you thank you for this product, I can join your Discord.
Yep. Definitely. So yeah, we have a Discord channel, Discord server with a lot of. We don't have a lot of channels. We have like the community hub. This is probably the most popular one. Everybody asks questions there, and even today, like somebody like let's take this example. Like Mohammed, he's a contributor and a longtime user. They needed some kind of feature, and I said, okay, it's on the roadmap, and they said, yeah, but I need it, it's very urgent for us. And I created an issue where I laid out the approach. This is how I would do it, like 1 2 3 4 and other
Nice.
considerations and everything else. And they created a PR, and now we're discussing on making this and implementing and adding it into Avo. So this is mostly a feature that they have the need, and they have like architected, and I'm just guiding them through and fixing some of the things that are maybe more internal and I know more about them.
Yeah, this is very well organized. Thank you, Adrian.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, we try to have a nice repo because we're developers. We have seen how in other repos maybe the experience is not as good. People don't answer, people don't motivate why they do or don't do things, people don't change things if maybe we need it. And we try to make this an inclusive space and try to explain why we will do or not do other things, and we want to make this the space that we maybe don't see every time out there. So that's why we try to make it give like the best experience.
Yeah. So from this demo, like we can see you're giving us new keywords to describe an admin panels. in short sentences with just like a few lines. But Avo still remains very customizable. And I think like Usama, you have a great example to provide us about how Avo can be customized like to any kind of style, and we just leverage on the DSL invented by Adrian, and for like the style, like still it's possible to customize it. Can you tell a bit about your experience building like a custom admin panels with Avo?
Definitely, yeah. There is actually a very good story behind it. When we were planning our for the project we are working currently, uh, I have used couple of admin panels beforehand, and I've seen what we have in the future. Like we are going to have a lot of front end elements going on, and I was not really sure that the already provided solutions will be getting that or not. But Tracy suggested actually that this is a cool new gem for creating the backend panels and admin panels. So we should try that. And I said, okay, I took it as a very casual thing. But when I really opened the website, our.hq, and I started going through with the features it is providing, and I really thought, is it for real that it is really providing all the solutions to our questions? Like, let's say if I have an admin panel and I want to customize one field, there was a lot of JS going on. There was a lot of custom templates I need to add or stuff like that. But I will give you a real life example that we had a requirement where I needed to add a simple drop down in an admin panel. Sorry, I couldn't show you right now because there's an issue with my server. I couldn't run it, so otherwise I would have showed it. So what I needed was to add a drop down for changing a simple quantity. So I've used some admin panels before, and there was no support for that. And I just went to the documentation for Avo, and there was an option for creating your own custom fields. I just created a custom field. I haven't really looked into the code, but when I created a custom field, it created separate files for the index, for show, and how the edit and update will be working. So it actually saved a lot of time on my side to custom implement it for three different pages by myself rather than it is providing me everything. I actually have code bits which I can share here. Mm, where is it? Yeah. So a custom field for the stock. So I didn't want to go into the page or edit or create and update the stock from there, but I just really wanted it on my listing where I can just implement a small number field or a drop down for that. So integrated that, and it has created a file where I can write my own Rails code if there is necessary. I didn't have anything for that. I didn't write anything here, but it is very customizable. So for the edit component, we also have the RV file for that if I want to do anything on the Rails side. And the most beautiful thing for me was this HTML file. It is only working for that specific field. It is not affecting other fields. And I have just added my code in that where I'm just adding another field and adding all my options there and how it should interact. And behind that, I've added my stimulus code from which I can just update and then submit the form, and it works like a charm. And on the show component, as you know, that I just want to show the number, so it provides me with this. So it was very, 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 very easy to do this. And I really thank Adrian for that. And there were a lot of different examples. Like if you see my product resource, there's search going on. Dealing with attachments is Very easy here because how we deal with attachments with other engines or other library is kind of a very hectic thing to do if we want to do anything custom. So it provides with everything, and literally all of this code was literally in the matter of couple hours or maximum 2 days, and we were able to implement all of this rather than implementing one field, customizing that and stuff like that. So you just have to go through with the documentation and you can do anything with it. So it's a very beautiful thing, and we are actually in middle of exploring it. And there is one thing I really want to boost off, that one of our team members, Ali, is one of the contributors to Avo. So that's a very beautiful thing, and hopefully I will be doing that too, because and I really miss that specific issue which Ali was working and I was not working, so I was not able to contribute. So I will actually find something there to properly
Good.
contribute to Abo, because Adrian is so helpful. We are actually talking with Adrian whenever we have some issues, and he is very active on his Discord channel, as well as we have him on Slack. So he's very active and he really helps us. So this is a work currently in progress, and I really want to use those colorful status bars. So Tracy, if you think we can use them anywhere in our project, please suggest it so we can do that too.
Yeah. So what you cannot show, like, let me show it also. So if you can see here, this is the Figma project. So here we have the design of what they came, they say like, we want to do this with Avo. Okay. It's not look
Yeah,
like in the demo from Adrian, you know? Is it
Yes.
possible to do it?
That's
Yeah.
that's I was actually talking about. Sorry if I'm cutting it. That's I was actually talking about in the start, that the design does not seem like a very friendly to the gems already there for Rails. Those are very like bland and gray and white. So we want to build up something very colorful and very custom. So we'll be able to do that. And I don't remember Trey's exact words, but he really assured that we will be able to do it. And voila, we did everything here.
Yes. So we did it. So let me show you. This is a website actually. So it's from the code base that you have showed before. This is a front, and Becoming will be like a SaaS e-commerce platform that aim to compete with Shopify, and it will works even like with Shopify templates. Let me sign in to my demo. So this is
This
Avo.
is Avo. Yeah.
This is Avo.
But it looks very nice. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's very nice,
different from
right?
the stock. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. We have come up with a very beautiful thing. Thank you very much, Adrian.
Yeah.
And look, this is like in the design, like
Nice.
in Figma.
Yep.
This is Avo.
Yep. 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 It looks amazing. The things that you built with it. Yeah. This is what I like when people show me projects and they use it in different ways than I imagined, and different, and they came up with these new things. And yeah, like index editing, we want to support that in the near future. But you did it, so
We
congrats.
did it already. We did it already. I was actually
Yeah.
talking about this. So if you change the available quantity there, so it is also give it also gives you a save button, and it is happening inside the small div. So
Yep.
this is a very beautiful thing I implemented, and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
Thank you
You
very much.
should. You should. It looks amazing. It looks
Yeah,
amazing, man.
yeah,
This is
definitely.
it.
Yep. So this is the thing, like how we made Avo. Like you do the small things, you do it incrementally, and then at one point when we'll have a little bit more time and we fix some other things, we're going to implement this as well, and it's going to be very easy for you guys to just say, okay, I want to edit on index. Okay, perfect. This is what you're going to have. So it's amazing. Good freaking job, man.
Thank
I
you,
can't
Adrian.
wait
Thank
for
you.
Becoming to get launched and show it to the people, because
Yeah, me too.
I actually tell people like, hey, there's somebody building a Shopify, but on Avo, when you go into the Shopify admin panel or the admin panel, you'll actually see Avo, and all of them are asking me like, where is it? I want to see it. Which project? I say, okay, I can't say it. Not yet. It's not launched, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say it. but I cannot wait for you guys to be launched.
Even like so we have invested some of our time learning Avo, and it was really fast actually to learn Avo. It was just like a matter of 1 week, and the second week you have been able to provide us support because you're really like easy to join. So the questions we have, you were able to answer very quickly. When we want to do things new, you said, okay, my approach, just like you show from the issues you write on the official repo. You said my approach will be to do it this, and you gave us some insights, and it was really fruitful to work together. So I would say that yeah, it worth to invest like just a bit of days, a matter of days to learn Avo and to practice it. It's a very great tool, yeah, as you said, to replace, for example, admin panels that cannot work when you have millions of rows in the same table, you know.
Exactly.
But with Avo, like very easy,
Of course.
it does it very easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
and one thing I want to mention here, when we are working with these libraries, there is also a thought of a, a boundary that it is providing us these customizations, but I don't think it will help us in the future after 2 years and 3 years. But this is something which I am really, really confident of, that it will be with us for a long, long, long time, because the level of customizations we can do, what is already there for us, and it is very good. I must say, it is a very good thing.
thanks for saying that, Osama. Yeah. So this is what I'm hoping, like to build a business on top of this and to have this as a maintained product, because this is not a product that you build like in a weekend or 2 weekends and then you launch it and it's there. You just maintain it from time to time. This is really a project that I'm working full time on that. I have Paul that is working part time on this, like from development perspective. And if we don't build a business, this can become very fast an unmaintained project, right? Like maybe like active admin or Rails admin and so on. So we want to do something different. We really want to empower developers and teams to move very, very fast with very little like financial effort, because like $250, that's nothing. We want to increase the pricing a little bit, but it's still nothing compared to what you're going to get using it for a week. And then you're confident enough that if you're going to update like in 6 months and add a few more resources, everything is going to work, everything is going to look the same, everything is going to be more modern, and we're just going to push new features, right? So we had a lot of customers that said, hey man, I just upgraded and I saw you added this and this and I already like hacked it in, but yours is so much better and we just can push it in. Thank you so much. Like you said, Usama, like you made that index editor. I think it took you like, and I'm sure you're very good, but I know that it takes a lot of time to build that index editing experience. And I want to build that so everyone can just say, okay, I want this index editable. Perfect. That's all good. And yeah, that's the level of like support we want to give. So it's not just you're using a gem, but it's like a what do you call it? Collaboration, and we can help you like with support and everything else. And we want to make this like a maintained package.
Thank you so much. This is the end of this live. We are very polite. It was expected to end at 8 p.m. and it's exactly 8 p.m.
It's perfect, man. It's
Yes,
perfect. This
good
is how we do it.
organization. Good organization. So Adrian, my dream is that starting tonight, like you start to hire new developers start you on GitHub, and
The repo.
don't forget to join the Discord server because as you see, like they are very convivial at Avo. So join their Discord and say hello. Just try, you will see you will not be alone. You will get help, and if you need like feedbacks from trained developers, we are also there in the Discord server from Adrian. So it will be our pleasure to answer you. And thank you, Osama, to have been there. Thank you, Adrian, to have shared your experience. I hope that we will meet again in this channel to talk about Avo and what's the new updates you have bring to Avo.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for having me. Like always, it's a pleasure to meet you. Nice to meet you, Usama, and everybody else. Yeah, go on the repo, start the repo, give Avo like an hour or two. We have a lot of videos, we have a lot of documentation. So give it an hour of your time to try and build something, and I think you're not going to regret it.
Thank you very much. Specifically to Adrian, that a good library is where you have a proper documentation, and this is what you have actually provided us. So thank you very much for that. Really excited for the future and what is coming for us, what is already have here. So we will explore it more. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank you
So
very much,
just
guys.
a bit of word about Equipe Technique to end this live. Our goal is to help developers to stand out, shine brighter, and be able to meet European businesses. There is a lack of talents here in Europe in software development, and there are so much talents like globally in the world. We are building this channel to help you to elevate your career by meeting like very inspiring developers like Adrian and Usama and learn from them. So you can also join the Discord at Equipe Technique if you want to go globally for your career and be able to meet like US companies or European businesses and find like the mission you dream. So don't hesitate to subscribe to our channel and to join our Discord. See you guys.
See you.
Bye.